He lived a peaceful, happy life for many years. He had a loving wife and wonderful children. It was a perfect family scenario, in fact an idyllic existence. But everything changed when social media came into play. There are different ways to perceive this new facet of our reality, but I have come to the conclusion that it is a harmful force. I met Christina in 2003. She was a technical college student at the time and looked absolutely stunning. She had a lot of fans, and I had to put in a lot of effort to get her attention. The girl was practically followed by a string of fans. She gave everyone a sweet smile, and each of them thought that he was her number one. I managed to win her over not only with my perseverance, but also with my ability to make an impression. I looked good, I was the life of the company, and I knew exactly how to handle women. Then my classmate Philip appeared on the scene. They had a history before I met Christina, and she made no secret of it. But Philip soon became interested in another woman. Christina found out, and their relationship hit a rough patch. Philip didn't want to lose such a beautiful classmate, so he regretted his actions. But then I stepped into the picture, and Philip had to accept the loss. Now, more than 15 years later, Christina and I have a son together. I worked as a market director, while Christina was leading a chemical lab. Over time, things started to shift, unfortunately, not in a good direction. It all began with small things. Christina began to nitpick over every little detail. For instance, one day she said, "Arkady, when are you going to learn how to dress? Look at this shirt. It looks like it was just yanked off a village pig." She demanded I change it, right then and there. But I wasn't just sitting there letting it slide. I spent the whole day stewing. And so, piece by piece, those harmless comments started turning into full-blown insults. I soon found out through my social media page that Christina had resumed her relationship with Philip. A notification came to her phone about a recommendation to add her former classmate as a friend. My wife turned out to be his mutual friends. That's when everything fell into place. Before, I didn't pay attention to some of the things my wife was doing, but now they seemed strange, inappropriate. In addition to the occasional quarrel, she began to stay at work late and pay less attention to our children. Just a month ago, I complimented her on a new accessory, a beautiful necklace she bought. When I asked, "Do you like it?" I just replied, "It looks great." Being a marketing director meant dealing with some pretty questionable contacts, including those with ties to the criminal world. To be honest, I've been working closely with them for quite a long time. So when the situation started to get complicated, I decided to turn to a man I trusted, Timothy, who was well known in our circles. He listened attentively when I explained the situation and advised me to keep an eye on my wife. After a pause, he said, "You were right. Your wife was having fun with it." Well, you got it. They were seen entering the sauna together. You know as well as I do that you can't just drop into a classmate's sauna to have a heart-to-heart chat. I couldn't find the words. What could I do next? Timothy continued, "It seems like all these years have been wasted, but you have 2 children with this woman. We need to talk to this Philip. We need to make it clear to him that he shouldn't spend time with other people's wives. As for what to do with Christina, well, that was up to me." Naturally, I couldn't just let it slide, so I agreed to Timothy's suggestion. Philip had to face the consequences. But when it came to my wife, I had no idea what I was supposed to do yet. I knew I couldn't stay under the same roof as her. I needed some time away to gather my thoughts. So, I called Christina and told her I had to go on an official trip to one of the regional centres for a few days. But then things took a turn I never saw coming. There was no conversation with Philip. I really did go to the region, and while I was away, Christina met up with her lover once more. The guys kept an eye on them, though. Their meeting took place in the city centre, in a park. It was there that Philip and my wife kissed, completely unbothered by anyone around them. But they should have been. A truck pulled up near the park, and a team of people in Special Forces uniforms jumped out. They took Philip down and slapped handcuffs on him. Christina was detained too. The law enforcement agencies quickly opened a criminal case. The pair was charged with counterfeiting, and it turned out the operation was much bigger than anyone had anticipated. It all started about 6 months ago, when Philip reached out to my wife through a social network. I ended up reading their messages myself. Their conversation began with casual catch-up. Christina told him everything was fine, though she wished for a more glamorous life. That's when Philip suggested they meet up. What started as a rekindled fling soon turned into something much darker, when Philip proposed they set up a counterfeit banknote operation in Christina's lab. During a raid of her office, the authorities found a stash of counterfeit money in her safe. Both of them were slapped with hefty sentences. Now, several years have passed. Christina is still serving her time, and Timothy and I have moved on from the market business. Things have changed. He's an entrepreneur now, while I'm just earning a regular salary. Looking back, the hardest part of it all was explaining everything to the kids. They grew up without holding any bitterness toward their mother, but for me, I still can't bring myself to forgive her.